Welcome back to It's Not Junk TV. My name is Jarvis, and it's a cold, weird, windy day here in southwestern Ohio. It looks really nice out, but the wind is a ripping. I don't know if it's the camera's picking it up, but that wind is making it cold, and they're saying some negative teens and 20s here for this upcoming week, so we got a nasty one. But we've got a fun one hopefully here. That's something totally different that I've never done before. I have got a subscriber repair, restoration, whatever you want to call it. Just went up and picked it up. Oh, I know what's in here, but you guys don't. So let me get the camera set up. Like I say, I don't normally do these, but a guy reached out and asked if I would take a look at an instrument he had when he was a kid, and it's been sitting for a long time. So not sure exactly. I told him not to hold off on any pictures, and that way when we're seeing it together. I know what it is. You can tell by the box. It's pretty small, so if you think you know what it is, drop it in a comment down below. And let me get all this gear off, get into somewhere warm, and we'll open this box up and see what we got. All right, we got this thing in here on the bench. Let's cut her open and see what we got going on here. The label marked it all out, so we don't let nothing slip. It's so hot in here, everything's letting go. Well, not the best of packing jobs, but it's in there. Right. Get the box out of here. Let's see what we got. Now, like I said, I knew what was coming this way, but I don't know what. See it in there? Oh. Alright, look at that little ukulele. It says, what's it say on there? Let's see if I can. It says Camp Uke. I think I've seen these before, probably from the 50s, maybe 60s. Got a patent, something staying there on the little bridge. All in all, I don't see a whole lot of damage on it. We've got looks like a split there. All right, yeah. We've got some delaminating there. Yeah, it looks like a split that started. It's not went all the way the length of it yet, but it's definitely started. Let's see. Around the top don't look bad. There is the faint cracking. There's a little bit around right there, but I don't think that one might be through. I don't think that one's all the way through. All right, let me get you zoomed in here a little closer. But that's what we got, this little ukulele. Now we gotta see what everything it needs done on it. So the neck looks straight, the frets look good. I don't see anything out of line. Neck looks all right, but it's definitely having some issues with the back. And right here, we have another area that's lifted off. I think this is an actual koa wood ukulele. I do believe
But I would like, I think our best bet is probably going to be to try to work this back off of here, maybe. I don't know how. That glue's still pretty tight. All right, well, let me inspect this thing a little closer. But this is our subject for today. That front, this is pushed in a little bit, which we could cleat that. I'm not really worried about that. And a lot of these little cracks are superficial. Yeah, they're not the roof, so not even on here. All right, let me inspect this closer, and then when we come back, we'll have us a game plan. I need to decide if I want to pull this back all the way off or not. So hang tight. All right, I've inspected this thing and been over it, and I've come to the conclusion I don't believe pulling the back off of it is the best way to go with it. Just a couple spots here. I got one here, created this little wedge to kind of hold it open. Then we'll just use Titebond. I wouldn't use anything more aggressive than that. Of course, the end of it's all boogered up. Get that out of there. Alright, so just created a small little wedge with a popsicle stick just to hold it open a little bit, and then we'll Alright, with that held open, what we'll do is I'll just start up here this side of the wedge, and just work as much of that down in there as you can. Then I created another one, just super thin, and you just work it down in there. Get as much done in there. That's the reason I use the Titebond, because it'll dry a little bit slower. Get that down in there. Good. Make sure you try to get as much down in there as you can. Do the one side. Go ahead and get rid of your excess, because you're going to get more squeezes out here in a minute. But we'll go ahead and do this side. Work it down in that crack. Work it down in there. And then take your edge and work it down in there again. Just keep working it down into that crack. The more you get in there, kind of the better. And then I'll come back. This side's not near as long. Now, with the compression of all the other glue that's in there, it should leave that open long enough. My wedge fell out before I could actually show you. But we'll go ahead and get some glue work there in that spot. And we'll let this, get this excess off here. All right. And just a couple light duty clamps. You don't want to get nothing too aggressive on it. This little Koa wood's pretty thin. And that one on there. Put that one on there. Clean up your excess. best to clean up as much of it now as you can. You'll be able to get it off of there later, but it's just easier to do it now. A little squeeze. All right. We'll let this dry. All right, so I've let this first glue up dry. We'll go ahead and pull our clamps. The next one's here. Runs about this far between here and here. But we got a little bit of a lateral crack right here. But it doesn't go, I think it runs down to about right there. So I think the easiest solution would be spread this open a little bit up on this upper side, which opens this up. And then just work the glue into it. Maybe not that much, but hey. Take some of it back off there. Get rid of it. Just work it back down in that crack. Take your knife, if you can get it down in there, and just sort of scrape some of that glue down into the crack, just to make sure you get it into both surfaces. A little more there. Then we'll go ahead and do an initial, get rid of the excess before we clamp it together. And then just continue on here. I'll open it, pull my little wedge over this way a little bit more. Try to squeeze a closed bottle of glue into it. Just do a little glue. Same thing, just use the finger and just get it rubbed down into the cracks. We'll pour a wedge. Once you get some glue down in them other areas, it'll hold it open a little bit. Then you can fill it back in. Like I say, I keep working it in until it stops getting the air bubbles in it. And then you gotta see there, it's still got a little spot there. So I'll add a little bit more and just keep working it back and forth, filling that whole crack up. Go ahead and get all your excess off your flat surfaces, because we're getting ready to throw these clamps on here and we don't want to have no glue hidden. And we'll go back with our clamps. We'll put one roughly right there. Don't want to get too much pressure on it. Go ahead and get some, take care of our squeeze out. And then we'll go back somewhere about in the middle right there. Try to keep it as close to the edge as you can. That's where you want your pressure. And we'll just go back, get rid of some of that squeeze out. I might loosen this one. Get rid of some of that again. Make sure there's none on your clamps. You don't want it to dry and end up pulling finish off when you go to take it off or see the imprints. These are smooth rubber, so they won't leave much, but enough that you might see it. And give it a little pressure. Go ahead and get the excess. Now again, we gotta hurry up and wait for this glue to dry. All right, now that this has had a chance to dry, we can go ahead and pull these clamps. See, we got that clean enough, none of our clamps. Everything is nice and stuck good. So next, we've got a crack here in the sound hole, and that one I can feel. It goes probably about right there. So I'm gonna have to, there's actually a couple, and if you can see the angle that I'm seeing, which maybe right there. It's kind of pushed in a little bit, so it's going to need a cleat behind it. Now, some people are probably going to be angry of what material, but this is a hardwood material. It's going to work just fine. But these are our hardwood. But I want it to be just a hair bigger. And it'll ultimately end up sitting somewhere just past our crack. Just shot across the room. On an interesting note, though, I did do a little research. I hadn't, like I say, this was a subscriber send in, and I really hadn't looked into it much, but I started doing a little bit of research in it. This thing's quite a bit older than they believed. From what I can tell, I think it's a 1921 Lion and Healy. If you do a little search on that, they're kind of a popular item, where they were back in the day. So it's a little more than what we thought. So you never know what you're messing with. But yeah, it's from 1921. So that explains why it was around in the late 50s and 60s. So I just took off the square edges against the piece it's going to be out. You want to leave no square edges on anything. And I just took this knife, smoothed it out, kind of rounded it over to that, and then on these ends, I'll kind of do the same thing. Just don't believe you want to leave any kind of square, chunky ends on it. So I'm just kind of rounding it over, tapering it down a little bit there on that end. Just tapering it down. So that'll ultimately end up sitting under there on the flat side that I've not done nothing to. It'll go up under here. Maybe. I can only get one finger in at a time. I should probably get my dominant hand over here. So it's gonna go in something like that right there. And as you see, if I pull this up, if I can get this in here and clamped good, it kind of pulls this crack back up where it needs to be. So I think that's what we'll do. I'll put this on the top side because I don't want my little clamps. We'll use these little lighter spring. They don't have much tension on them. I've got some heavier ones, some Craftsman brand ones, and they're kind of too much. I don't want it to squeeze into anything too much. These really, they're kind of light tension. These are from the Dollar Tree. That's where I found them at. And there's a pack of 5 or 6 for $1.50 or whatever it is now. So they're good for light duty kind of stuff. I think first I'll go ahead and work some of this down. When I can push down on this side, it kind of opens things up a little bit. So I'll just keep working this back in here, using pressure to work it back in that crack. And then go ahead, get rid of all of our excess for now. All right. And let me get, that was way too much. Let me get, for that, I don't think it's through, but that seems to be a surface deal, so we'll go ahead and get rid of some of that. Some of that extra. All right. this nice and covered in glue. Too much again. Yeah, try not to get none on the face side of it, because that's where your clamps are going to be, and you don't want this to stick to your clamps. So we'll go ahead and make sure we don't have any excess on our fingers. Now, trying to do this without getting covered in glue. We'll turn this way. Get this tucked up under there. And as I pull up where this is ultimately going to be, right there, we can go ahead and get rid of some of that squeeze out. Actually, might be able to get one of these in here. Any day now. Let's see. Lay that down there. All right. Got that. Pull this back a little bit. Okay. And I think from here we can use a couple of them little clamps. I'd like that to be in there a little further. There we go. Now we can pull it back and make it tight. All right, we're at that, letting the glue dry again. Okay, this has had time to glue up. The cleats in there nice and tight. Will end up laying in exactly where I wanted it to be. Top's nice and flat now. Get that in there. So that's not cracked. So I think I've got everything structurally back to where it needs to be. So, but what I've noticed is as I've had it, and it was kind of there when I first got it, but there's these slight little, where this instrument's dry, there's these slight little surface cracks. They don't go through. There's none of them on the inside, not that I can feel. So what needs to happen is this thing needs to be set into a moisture controlled area for a few weeks, let this wood swell back up, and it'll close a lot of that off. The way I do it, just got a cardboard box. Let's see here. I like to, we'll just use this t-shirt here. Just take, lay a towel. Now I'm using this t-shirt because I forgot to grab a towel. I'll swap this back out later, but just to give you an example, I'll take this t-shirt, put it on this side of the box where I'm going to lay the instrument. And just kind of keep it under it. All right. So you put it. Now you can use a tote or a container. I just like this little box because it'll slide up under my bed. So put it in a box. I've got just a paper towel, a couple pieces of paper towel folded up in here and been wet, and they're put into this Ziploc bag. And then I'll just open a slight corner of it. Now I won't touch the instrument with it. And I'll lay it over here away from it. And I'll just leave it cracked. And then just close this up. And I'll take this little mat that I like to work on. Kind of control. And then this will go into a fairly warm place. Probably for a couple weeks. It'll at least take 2 weeks, I would imagine. And every day I'll come in and check. You'll have to put some, re-wet your paper towels. But you just check it. Just go back every day, open it up and look. If you're not seeing a change after 2 or 3 days, like you're not starting to notice the wood starting to pick up any moisture, open your bag up a little bit more. This is not going to be a quick process. It's going to take a while. And with that being a quick process, I don't think I'm going to carry on. All I'm going to do when I pull this back out, there's a couple little glue spots that I'm going to touch up. I'm going to throw a quick wax on it, a polish on it, and put strings on it. And there's so many other channels out there about polishing an instrument and throwing strings on and tuning. You can go check one of those guys out. I just wanted to show you how to fix those small structural cracks without having to disassemble the whole instrument. If those cracks would have been more significant, the back would have had to come off. And then the way I would have done it, I'd have taken the back off, worked on the front through the back, and then fixed the back and then reattached it. But we didn't have to do that in this instance. In most instances, you don't. You can just fix your cracks, work some glue in there. Also recommend Titebond has a hide glue. I would recommend that versus just using a normal wood glue. I've got some ordered. I was out, so I ended up using the regular Titebond, which will be fine. I only used it in a couple small little places. So with that, I think we're going to end this video here. I wish I'd have known this was a little bit more collectible before I started on it. It wasn't towards the end. I figured out that it was really as old as it was. So now I'm going to go back and we're going to add some moisture to this thing. And I may have to go a little bit more in depth. The subscriber that sent this to me has also told me just go ahead and keep it. I don't want to, but he's insisted that just go ahead and keep it. And he's not going to play it. He don't have anybody to give it to. So I'm going to put it back together. He said keep it, play it, sell it, do whatever I wanted with it. So I think what'll happen is after I get it back into shape and I get the moisture back into it, and I'm happy with that, it'll end up over on the store on eBay. It's Not Junk TV store over there. But I'll post that out. Then I'll also, after I get it strung up and playing, I'll make a little video of me playing something on it and put it out over on Facebook for you guys, so everybody. So if you're not following me over there, go over there. Between these two platforms, you probably won't miss anything. If you've not hit like and subscribe yet, be sure and do that. That doesn't cost anything. It's free. It just it helps me out significantly. I'm still on this road to getting 1,000 subscribers. Gonna do it soon. I'm not gonna give up until I get it. So, and then I definitely won't give up after that. But everybody that's stuck around this long, I appreciate it. My name's Jarvis. This is It's Not Junk TV. Until I see you in the next one, which is going to be a good one. You don't want to miss it. I'm not going to tell you anymore. Y'all take care of yourself.